The pension to make life easy for residents of Lagos by the Lagos State House of Assembly through laws that are truly people-centered has come to the fore again. The bill on the state of value-added tax VAT scaled first and second reading on Thursday, while the bill on open grazing has been treated for speedy reading. According to the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, the bill on open grazing will ensure harmonious relationship between herders and farmers and protect the environment of the state and the southwest region, while the bill on the VAT will lead to an increase in revenue and ensure infrastructure development when passed into law. Jerry, let's take it one by one. We gave that updates as corrected by Mr. Tunji Bello that the Lagos State government, they've already worked on this open grazing law, and it's left for the Assembly to come back from the recess and actually treat it. Now you can see the expedite action. Yes, they've given it now.
They're working on it. They're working on it, and the Assembly is making input, as it's usually the case.
Yes. With
this Assembly, the Lagos Assembly has, over the years, shown unarguably to be the best in the country.
In terms of effectiveness.
And in terms of coming out with ideas that can make the state better. When people were not thinking of even this community policing.
Yep. That's
the speaker sponsored a bill for us to have community policing in Lagos.
Yeah.
That was long before the idea of Amotekun came.
Yes, long.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have the neighborhood watch. We have neighborhood call. The neighborhood call is working in Lagos. We used to have neighborhood watch. That was the one that came first.
Okay.
So the neighborhood call, that was the bill that the speaker sponsored. And then we have them now. We have their uniform. They help with
gather intelligence.
Yeah, with traffic control and all that. No, their own work is to demonstrate their knowledge of their areas.
Yes.
Provide intelligence that the law enforcement
with the police
officers can use to crack crime. So they've always done well, no doubt about it. And there are some very cerebral individuals in that house that I'm personally proud of. You know, now I'm not surprised. They made their own input, and part of the input is that for even carrying arms illegally, if you are a header, you are carrying arms illegally, it's 21 years. Because it is still with those guns that they kill people on their farms. So you can do your thing, but don't carry arms illegally. That is there. The issue of VAT, we've always said that VAT is a consumption tax. And in the place where you are collecting VAT, the community should benefit a lot more because it's a consumption tax. We've seen what happened in Rivers State, led by Governor Wike. Now, other states they've seen the benefit in it, other states are plugging in. You can imagine, Lagos knows that it will gain about 500 million.
They even account for 55% of the total VAT.
Yes.
Lagos alone.
Yes. Lagos, in the whole country.
Yes, the whole country, 55%.
Now, they are looking at what will come to them. Extra revenue will translate to greater infrastructure development. They'll be able to build schools, build more hospitals, provide for social services for people. So they are already thinking that this is the benefit that will come from it. The truth that we must tell ourselves is that this is not a political issue.
Straightforward.
It's a social issue, socio-economic issue. That's how I want to define it. It is restructuring coming in another form without firing a shot. Now, let's not deceive ourselves. And the reason I say this is not a political issue, it's not an ethnic issue. States like Osun, they are going to feel the impact when it goes to the states, when the collection the power to collect goes to the states. States like Osun, states like Ekiti, they will suffer like other states that do not have tremendous internally generated revenue potential. So it's not, the effect will not be felt in one part of the country alone. It's going to be across board. It's going to be Ebonyi. They will feel it. And Ebonyi is in the southeast. As they will feel it in Ebonyi, feel it in some states of the southwest. I think if not for maybe Lagos, FCT, Rivers, Delta, many states will feel it. Many states will feel it because they've always relied on revenue from the center, and then FIRS is going to lose at least half of the revenue that it usually accounts for every year. So if FIRS was doing more than enough. It's a major one. About 3 trillion will be gone from what FIRS usually gets in a year.
So Dr. is all about you can't reap where you don't sow.
Yes, that is basically what it is.
As in,
that is basically what it is. Like the speaker said in Lagos, it's true federalism coming into play through another means, not through the back door now. Very simple. We've always,
Lagos has the most populated.
These things have always been there.
Commercially viable.
The revenue that was distributed in August, for instance, you had a VAT of 140.55 billion, and the Southwest accounted for 800 million out of this, meaning that the rest of the country gave about 600 million. And then
the remaining 5 geopolitical zones.
Yes, the whole of them. So you now ask yourself, why is it that the Southwest can't get more of that revenue? Especially when you go to the fact that what constitutes VAT?
You put it state by state now, according to your strength.
You have entertainment. Entertainment speaks of a lot of things.
Lagos, Abuja, Rivers,
the hotels, and in some states you have them destroying bottles of alcohol, yet they benefit from this same VAT in equal proportion.
In fact, the profit coming from Guinness, Nigerian breweries, you dare ask yourself that, are we truly in difficult times? Who are the people drinking this kind of beer?
Yes, the Christian religion will say no to consumption. The Islam will say no consumption. Who are the people drinking this thing?
So let's look at what profits from those profits. Huge money. The speaker in Lagos said it is an opportunity for us to emphasize again on the need for the consideration of true federalism. Because I make money, you want to share from that money. I should be the one to decide how much I want to give you. It's just like I earn my salary. You are a member of my family. And then you now come to me and say, this is how much you must give me.
Well, there is a need for a conversation.
Yeah, so we need to sit. But that conversation is not holding.
And that's the thing. I would, for example, want to see some conversation on how these things should be shared in a manner that will please everybody, in a manner that no one will feel cheated. Because that's the way it is even in the US, you know. So states contribute to the national pool. You understand? Yes, true federalism is but it is decided how much you contribute.
Sometimes you might not like the way he talks, you might not like his approach, but sometimes you will look at the way how Governor Wike has fought this battle, and you want to say, look, thumb ups to somebody like Governor Wike.
He's a lawyer.
You can't take it away from him. You know, the battle is still on. It's still on. Because he has only won at one judicial level.
Yeah.
He still has the appeal court,
and he's going to go up to the Supreme Court.
And this matter will get to Supreme
That's Court. What the FIRS is banking on.
Yes,
we don't know of execution in the.
I know.
They have directed these people to start collecting.
They can do it.
That's the radical.
The court refused to grant an injunction to that effect. So FIRS lost at that point. So
pending the time of
they can collect until a superior court says no.
Otherwise.
So nobody is even saying that he has won the battle. But the courage to is noteworthy. Yeah. That courage is noteworthy.
If you remember the
we should continue to test our laws. That's the way
I also don't want us to
challenge a lot of
that. This same issue, we can stretch it further by looking at what happens to the oil producing communities. They earn something extra for giving us oil. So if they are earning, then those who are bringing in the VAT should also earn.
More.
We can stretch that logic.
30% derivation.
We
have the oil producing.
Yes. You can't just say make your money and bring it to the center. Let us share. When I know that others are not bringing, they are not contributing equally. So I think it is that even all the figures that we have had shows that, see, it is from Lagos that you get most of this
non-oil revenue generally in our country. Lagos accounts for the bulk of non-oil revenue.
Lagos,
either from the ports or non-oil revenue.
So as we await other states of the south to conclude a signing of the open grazing law, Miyetti Allah came out yesterday to tell the government to tell these states to please stop and let a conversation be held. I don't know what you have to say to this.
This Miyetti Allah, I always emphasize that there are two factions. The faction that makes the most noise is not the mainstream faction. The Miyetti Allah, Kaltahori, they are not the main faction. The mainstream faction, they don't make that noise. They are not an adversarial. They are not always ready to fight. They are not always abusing people as the other group. Remember that even when this open grazing thing, when the governor of Ondo State was going to come up with it, the Miyetti Allah, the mainstream faction, were part of it. And they told us, we brought them on TV, they admitted that they even like what the governor has done because they too are victims of criminal herdsmen. They too are victims. In fact, one even told us of the story of how because they reported some criminal herdsmen, they murdered one of their men. They detained them, the police released the guy, and then after he was released, they went and murdered a fellow Fulani man that reported them. So we need to get it right. I always want to know which group is talking before I know even how to respond.
Most Nigerians
remember one of the groups even said the other day there was one group was even abusing Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. One of those two Miyetti Allah group. The other group had to come out to say, look, we are embarrassed because we couldn't have said some these things. The man had not offended them. So I always like to know, because to say Miyetti Allah, which one? Because I don't recognize the other group. I recognize the mainstream Miyetti Allah. More of their members are with that group. Yes. That's the one that I recognize.
More of the responsible
members. Their members are with that group. They don't talk anyhow. They don't look for trouble. Even the governor of Benue State, I remember that he made that distinction. Yes. That it is the other group that is causing trouble. So I really, whatever those ones say, honestly, I'm not bothered.
Because I've been looking at the position of Governor Aminu Bello Masari and Governor Ganduje on this thing, and they've even led the forefront of saying, look, this thing, we must stop this thing.
Yes.
This thing should not continue. So if
for those who have been following this, we all know that this is the solution. Like Biko said, there are two factions. That other faction that wants trouble, that wants to eat up the polity all the time, we should begin to ignore them.
Honestly.
Sometimes I think that
attention, maybe just attention seeking.
We also need to now see who do we want to report.
Yes.
So that we start, I mean,
not people hit up the
polity. Not people want to.
Okay, I have Abubakar calling us from Kano. Thank you for joining us, Abubakar.
Yeah, thank you very much. Papa Jide, Ayodele, and the other guests in the house. You are well done. Yeah, Dr. Oladipo, yes, you are well done.
Thanks.
On our own situation of federalism, sometimes I get confused when people mention what is true federalism. And I ask, I have checked through the whole books, through the political science book, through the theories of federalism. all what I have seen there is either you have federalism or you have confederalism. And when I ask people who propagate and promote true federalism, I ask them who propagated federalism and where is it practiced. They tell you it is practiced in the United States of America. United States of America don't practice true federalism. They practice confederalism. It's a confederation state. That's why you see states have their own electoral law. They have their own Supreme Court. And a lot of things in terms of revenue they contribute to the federal. So,
wow, it's a general conversation, enlightenment.
Yes, I was doing well.
He wasn't able to make it.
No, but the truth is that whichever way we look at it, we've always said it. Copying what other people are doing wholesale won't work for us in this country. We have to sit down, like Vicky has said, and talk to ourselves honestly, and say, see, this is what can work for us. Someone has put us together. We have seen over the years that splitting is a problem. So why can't we sit down and talk about this? What is our own definition of this federalism? Can we honestly talk about it?
In fact, the governor of Kano State was the first to even ask for the banning of moving of cattle from the north to the south.
So he said is that not very clear?
So that means it's against open grazing.
Because
so it's not an ethnic issue.
Who are educated, they know that these things can't work again.
It's not worth it anymore. It's not.